This is Jeopardy!
It's happening right now. Now, okay, so Jake, what category?
We'll go public comment for 600.
Wow. Okay, late night fire in the elementary school prompts the school board to call an emergency meeting for the following morning. 2 of the 3 board members are out of town, so they decide to hold the meeting via conference call.
Yes.
Yes.
Not only are the public aware of it,
They have to go get comments.
Well, they had the public can hear it too.
Yes.
yeah, that's it. So
I think we got it.
I'm gonna do 300 there.
Minutes for 600.
No.
Right here.
Yeah.
The whole story.
Okay.
More.
So no, and why don't they have to take minutes in the hearing?
Well, the hearing is in executive session. To
It's
begin
also
with.
a quasi-judicial proceeding,
Right, quasi-judicial.
and so open meeting laws do not apply to quasi-judicial proceedings.
I'm just wondering about, we've had a series of meetings of late where we have members of the public come to not address an item that is on the agenda, but to suggest that the board put an item on the agenda, which we are deciding not to do because we covered it in previous meetings. So is the public comment period for just items that are on the agenda, or is it wide open?
It's another reason why it's good to have a policy on the issue. I don't think you have to let people talk about items that aren't on the agenda, but a lot of boards do. I mean, ultimately, you need to have a process that works for your community. I mean, it doesn't do anybody any good if the public's up in arms about, you know, a board's approach. Particularly if you've got a well-established practice of a free-flowing discussion, and now you say we're only going to allow, you know, this. I think going through the process of developing a policy on public comment could be a useful way to just make a decision about what kind of parameters you're going to put around it. But I think, so I don't think the law requires, it says, and I don't have it right in front of me, but the public shall be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard on matters discussed by the public body. So I don't think you have to let people just share their thoughts, but in many cases it's a common practice. And I don't think it's necessarily problematic as a structure.
I think just part of it, and part of it is how I'm interpreting what's written there, really, because when I see the public comment bit, I'm thinking of an agenda item on the agenda of public comment. And I really distinguish that from people commenting on regular agenda items that are on there. So when I see limiting public comment to a 10-minute period at the end of the meeting, I'm not seeing that as limiting, and this is where I think maybe we agree more, you know,
right.
that I'm not interpreting that as limiting their ability to comment during the meeting.
So you would also allow for public comment prior to a board taking action throughout the
well, because they have to be given reasonable ability to comment on what we're discussing.
That's fine. The scenario I'm contemplating is that no more public comment at any time other than a 10-minute period at the end of the meeting. That's what the scenario is.
So executive session for 600 still there?
It sure is.
All right. I move that we go into executive session to discuss a health issue, public health issue.
So you think you can go into executive session to discuss this topic? I disagree.
Yes, it did say that.
Okay, Richard, disagree? And why do you disagree?
It has broad-reaching effects on the community. It's something that they should be made aware of.
It doesn't put the board at a disadvantage.
Right.
It's also not one of the listed 7 or 8.
Right.
So there's a clear and imminent peril to the public safety exception, which
It would
some
not
people think.
do otherwise to place the board at a substantial.
Well, that's great, but you don't have to do that analysis for the clear and imminent danger. You only have to do the placing the board as a substantial disadvantage for the contract civil action category. But it's great that you said that, just because that provides an opportunity.
So they get extra
Get
points.
clear about that. So I think of this in a couple ways. Number one, that exception, the clear and imminent peril, is designed for circumstances where decisions need to be made, or else there will be a danger.
This is already.
This is a danger that's been documented in a
Right.
health report, or Department of Health
Public-
report, which
public.
is likely a public record.
Right.
So I would agree that it's not allowed, and I'm going to give you guys
Okay.
600.
All right.
Wow.
All right, so which category would you like next? We've got, are we meeting and notices of and agendas? All 3 are available.
Okay, notice an agenda for 600?
All right. I hope are you guys keeping track of the points that you're
We just talked about this.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's
And?
It is
allowed, but not recommended.
Great. That was a 600 points, man. That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I didn't know we were going to be talking about 5 minutes before we started the game. Okay, great. Moving right along.
One sells 600 there?
Are we meeting?
Sure, let's go for it.
Are we meeting for 600?
Yes, they can. Depends on the membership of the committee.
Should they?
So it's
Should
a
they?
committee of the board. So I don't think the membership of the committee matters.
Well, aren't those documents public documents?
You're talking
Oh,
Google
Wiki.
Docs and Wiki, and you can make them both publicly
Yeah, you can make
accessible.
them public.
So the problem, yes, David.
Well, the first part, I think, is yes, they can, okay? They can share
Yeah.
information, but they cannot edit because that would represent deliberation.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you very much.
interesting. Very good.
Oh,
I agree. I think sharing documents is fine. The problem is when you're able to edit documents or engage in any kind of discussion in an online forum. Even if the documents are made available to the public are not able to monitor the conversation in real time. They're not able to wait. So edits could have happened last week because a couple people were sort of going back and forth. And as a member of the public, I forgot to check the wiki on the Red Committee. So I missed out on a decision that may be pretty important. So sharing information online and having a central location to do that is fine, but getting into any kind of editing or discussion,
Or decision.
that should be held in a meeting that's warned.
Any kind
So-
of,
Options, no.
Sorry?
sorry. No, go on.
So David, 600 points.
If the board uses a Google Doc to do stuff, is that the same that holds true as?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. So
As long as they don't edit it.
no editing, no discussion. Just sharing information.
Now, we are allowed to have electronic meetings, right? And we can hold electronic meetings as long as the public can participate according to the law.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So if we have a set of documents up on Google Doc or Wiki, and we are allowing the public to view this, as things happen, whether or not they actually choose to go look at it is the same as them choosing to attend or not attend a meeting.
Right.
So what is the difference with this being an ongoing meeting that is perfectly open? It's totally transparent. The conversation is there for everybody to see, and there's a process set up for them to comment as the process goes along. Why is that different from them? You know, you talk about somebody maybe not seeing the stuff for a week. Why is that any different than them not coming to a meeting?
Right. Well, I mean, you know, meetings are pretty specific time and place, and people can choose, I'm going to go, I'm not going to go. Online forums can mean decisions can be made at all hours of the day, all hours of the night. And number one, the law has not evolved to keep up with this reality.
Right.
And number two, if you are going to design something like that, you should probably work closely with either the Secretary of State's office or your own attorney to make sure you're really clear about how you're conveying, you know, when people are making changes. I mean, are you sending an update to everybody saying this week the changes to the online? I mean, the point is for people to be able to, in real time, give feedback to the public body on decisions they're going to be making. So if you can design a process that allows for that, and technology may allow for that, then I think, you know, but I'm not willing to say, you know, just make sure it's all open and there's a record of it. Having a record of it isn't the same as being able to weigh in at the time the decisions are being made.
But if you've got a study committee of the board, and it's a committee, it's got to be warned for the meeting. So you can't do it because you can't warn it. You warn it once, but if you aren't doing it right then, it kind of blows it. In my mind, I would think, unless you're going to warn it every time you do it, to meet, to discuss this, you can't do it as the way the rules are now. It's what I would think they would.
Didn't you set it up where the board directs the superintendent to engage a study committee?
Yeah, I mean, I think this type of committee, it's tough to argue that it's not a board committee. But if it's, you know, the board has got a problem that we want some more information on, superintendent set up a working group or whatever, figure it out, and the superintendent on his or her own sets up a committee. I think that, but we may not be in the area of a public body, if there's just a group of people, a superintendent put together to help figure out a problem. David, what's your pleasure here?
Oh, sure. How about, is minutes still available?
Minutes, we've got 200 and 400.
400, please.
Okay.
There is a problem, because we talked about this earlier, that you have to be more specific as to what the action is, not student or superintendent's recommendation. Two, you know, that we take action to suspend for or
Right. Right. And so the problem is that, number one, the wording of the motion is flawed. And number two, there's no recording of the discussion in the minutes, so literally someone would have no idea what transpired at the meeting. And we went through this. I can't believe I went into that, knowing this was a question. But good for you guys.
So I have a question for clarification, Nicole. We have done that in compensation matters, whereby the public I don't know. I guess I'm double thinking that, or rethinking that again, where the motion would say, accept the superintendent's recommendation for compensation adjustment, and that's all it says, after an executive session.
So I guess I'm not clear what you mean by compensation.
A change in salary determination.
Based on, is this somebody who's on a contract, who's?
An employee, individual contract, not union. An administrator, usually in central office.
Right, right. So aren't salaries a matter of public record?
Yes. Yeah, they are later, but.
Yeah. So I don't see the need to keep it a secret. It's not a secret. It's not going to harm anybody.
Whoa, well,
Well,
there we could have a discussion.
Well, it could make, I mean, causing discomfort or.
Yeah. No, like I said, I'm rethinking it, obviously,
Yeah.
from that.
Okay. You guys
Yeah.
have
What
the
do we
floor?
have? What do we have left?
So are we meeting? Notice and agendas and executive session all have, since you guys are big high rollers, all have 400.
Executive session.
Okay.
Yes, it's allowed, and the wording would be to discuss a legal contractual matter that the premature release of the information could put the school board at a disadvantage.
Absolutely. Well
Good
done.
answer.
1 out of 5.
You guys get your 300 points back. That was such a perfect answer. Okay, what would you like?
What else was to say?
Are we meeting notice and agendas? Still have 400 points left.
We're over 1,000.
No, what, the agenda's still into 400?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, agenda's
Notice
to
and
400.
agendas.
Yeah. You don't have to do it, but I would.
That's correct. Agendas should be made available to the news media, Title I, Section 312D. Then agendas shall be made available to the news media or concerned persons.
Concerned person's request
Prior to the meeting upon specific request.
on specific.
Specific request.
Isn't
So,
that a specific request?
well, I think I read that as a specific request for that agenda, for that
Okay.
night's meeting. As Rama said, is it a good practice? If people want it, I mean, but do you have to do it? Does the law require you to post your agendas on your website?
No, but your policy could.
Your policy could? Do you have policies in that area? Okay, are we meeting?
Are we meeting for 400?
Okay.
Yes, if the public body has to warn a meeting and take minutes.
Excellent. We really went over a lot of this stuff. All right, now we're just 200s all across the board.
How are we meeting for 200?
because it's being edited and it's being discussed among the board, it is considered a meeting and it has to be warned.
Actually,
It would be a violation.
Of the open
Every, one person saying reply all, if nobody else replies and no edits are made, there's no violation.
Well, then,
right, so he's requested an edit, not done the edit.
So far, but if anybody else replied all, and a discussion started happening back and forth, well, that's not what we do, or yeah, I'm happy to change them, amend the minutes, then you would get it.
but that's a different question though,
Yeah.
That's right.
because that stops at him it's at him, I'm assuming him, sending out a request. So that's not a meeting, that is not a meeting make.
Some lawyers maybe would.
So what I would do in that case, hopefully the board members would not respond, but I would bring it to I would advise the board chair to announce at the next meeting that this email went out, that it was a request, that there was a discussion.
And another good sort of strategy, if you're going to be emailing your entire board, would be to BCC everybody, so that it's physically impossible to reply all.
Here is today's final Jeopardy answer.